So I was on Gumtree last night. I made a bit of a mess up last night. I had woke up on, I think it was Sunday, and it was Saturday. I think that all came from going round to Scott's too early in the week. Normally Scott's a Thursday and a Friday. I think it was a Tuesday. It was literally, I went to, in fact, which I'm never going to do again. I couldn't get to sleep last night. I got a munchie box from the Cyma. I'm going to start eating healthily. I think shit food just makes me not well, basically. A munchie box is, I might even use it as a photo. I only ate half of it. I made the decision on the spot. I was just going to get a chicken pakora. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get a chicken pakora. That thing was £6 or something like that. I was like, oh, munchie box, let's get 3 different types of pakora in it, and chips, and kebab meat and a pita bread. Yeah, so I think the kebab meat is the one that I've got to be a bit more wary of. Yeah, so it was on Gumtree last night, and there was a guy selling a couple of guitars actually in Cumbernauld. You might get to see a bit of Cumbernauld if this video keeps up. If I can remember where the Gregory's Girl locations are, or whether I actually even drive past them. I might just, if I recognise anyway. I'm pretty sure we definitely go near the bridge where they're standing. Nice crispy, send them all over the world. That guy, whoever that is. And you'll see the school, which my pal's wife Fiona, her brother, that was her school, and her brother was a couple of years older than her, and had the chance to be in the football team for Gregory's Girl, but he had to wait behind after school or something like that, and her brother was apparently acted for Puff, so I'm not doing that, so he wasn't in it, but he could have been. So the 2 guitars he had, actually there's one on Facebook Marketplace just now. It was a Jackson, I think it may be called a Dinky, which is a sort of slightly small bodied, not really that small bodied, kind of roadstar sized guitar, but the reason I didn't buy it was £40 and it didn't have pickups, which is fine, but it didn't have a Floyd Rose on it. It had a hole for a Floyd Rose, and it's like, I don't actually have a Floyd Rose lying about. If I'd had one, I would maybe have bought it. So this guy was selling one of them for £50, and unfortunately I missed it. But it was that one and a Spear. I don't know if you remember Spear. I've had a couple of them through my hands. They're actually pretty good, made in Vietnam. I remember a couple of years ago, must have been pre-COVID, so 4 years ago or something like that, there was a pallet of these things. Actually my pal Graham, lives just up the road from Kirky, worked in the same warehouse where this pallet was. There was a couple of pallets of Spear guitars. Spear guitars were sort of, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago they came out, and they were very fancy looking. They didn't do well. They were too far out, too out there. You know, it's like if you're going to make guitars, people only want tobacco sunburst Strat and whatever the slash colour of Les Paul is. They don't want something interesting or different. So this is a Les Paul. Actually, the last one I had was actually really good. I kind of made an arse about them. I tried to do it. It was a red Les Paul with EMG HZ pickups in it. It was excellent. Got it off my pal Cameron. Great guitar. The only thing was it had a big stupid tribal graphic on the top of it, which looked crap. And basically, if it had just been red, it would have been awesome, but it wasn't. This stupid tribal graphic. So I had this great idea of dip painting it. So I dip painted it, and it ended up looking like what's the word I'm looking for? Is it marbled meat? Is it Wagyu or something it's called? The Japanese steak stuff. I've never seen it in China. But it was kind of like that's basically what it looked like. I don't think I got very much for it, which was stupid. I should have kept it. So this is another Les Paul. This one is, I remember seeing these at that Hillington Industrial Estate, which I started talking about, that I'll get back to. This has got like, it's like, see when you get wood that's been very, very wet and the paint's kind of raised up, bubbled, kind of looks like that. It's meant to look like that. It's like, it's a relic, but it's like a relic that looks like it made it out of, it's like what happens if you made a guitar out of a piece of wood you found in a field. down. 2P90s, Les Paul. I think it's probably a set neck. I'm not sure about it. Not about, as I said, we were talking about these like a few years ago when this Hillington Industrial Estate, it was this pallet that I was aware of that had been kicking about because my pal worked at the place where it was, and they'd put them up for auction at an auction site in Hillington, and I went to have a look and they had, I don't know, maybe 100, something like that, a pallet's worth of old spears, and they're like, why? So I went for the thing of actually going and having a look at them, and they were all fucked. Not all of them. Some of them had things that were, you know, you could tell that was why there were returns, you know. But some of them, you know, you looked at it and it's like, oh, there's a big chunk out the nut. Okay, that's why it was returned. I could put a new nut on it, that'll be fine. Some of them had like, you know, like a big dent in it or something like that, and but most of them had necks like bananas. These guitars had been kept in a, you know, a not temperature controlled warehouse for 10 years or something, and I think what had happened is this maybe started off as 3 or 4 pallets and had gradually been picked clean. People had bought the job lot, taken out the ones that they could salvage, and then, you know, sold it on, and eventually it came to this auction. And all the ones I saw, I mean, so many of them were the necks were so warped. There was really nothing you could do with it, especially like a set neck guitar. You can't put a new neck on a set neck guitar. Some of them were really bad. I think some of them were alright. It was a wee bit of it's your luck. I mean, I must have looked through. I looked through at least 10 of them. There was one I quite fancied. It was called a Bad Monkey, which was it was a Les Paul single pickup, Seymour Duncan single pickup, and like had that big tribal graphic I was talking about, and it was like mother of pearl. So actually I quite liked it. The best looking of all the Spear guitars, and I looked through at least 10 of them, and every one of them the neck was like a banana. So I basically just gave up, and people, let's say a number of people, maybe 10, at least 10, 50 people messaged me to say, have you seen this auction? Oh, it's your sort of thing, blah blah blah. And it's like, so I went to it, and a number of people were asking me after I'd been, I thought, should I maybe look at these and see what they go for? And I was just like, basically, no. You might end up with something that you're basically buying a Seymour Duncan pickup. That was it. So I'm hoping that this guitar isn't one of those. I'll be able to tell immediately if the neck's a banana, I'm not buying it. Yeah. So the guy had two guitars, £50 each, and I said, take 80 for both of them. And he went, oh, I'm sorry, I think someone's bought the Jackson. There should be somebody interested in the Spear as well, but I'll get back to you. So he got back to me this morning. Apparently the guy who was interested in the Spear doesn't drive, so can't go and pick it up. So me having a car is a good thing. I'm obviously living 5 miles away. So I'm going to chance my arm and try and get for 40, assuming it's all right. If it's shite, I'm just not going to buy it. I mean, looking at it, you know, it's, I think it might actually have branded pickups. Oh, this is taking me not the way I thought it was going to take me. I've just followed it blindly. I was going to cumbernauld that way. This is taking me right. I'm sure it knows where I'm going. This will take. Well, this will be a bit scenic. I'll be able to show you the Iron Brew Factory, made in Scotland for girders. It's just up here. Also, is it Patak's Indian naan breads and curry sauce and stuff used to sell in Co-op. I think that's just on the left here. Oh, it's actually taking me down Orchardton Road. Interesting. I used to work up here. In fact, we might even go past the thing I built. When I say built, I physically didn't lay any bricks or anything like that, but I managed it. Also means we're probably not going to get to see the Iron Brew Factory because I think it's further along this road. This is taking me through Broadwood, I think. And if you look over there, we can't see it because it's raining. The Bing I was talking about, Waterside, where I've been walking with to get the brakes done in the car. The brakes it's lovely having brakes. Also my ABS light is no longer coming on, which is good. And now I've got to start thinking about what my MOT is going to be like next month. I was telling you, going Oxford Road. So I did a place along here called Axis Park, which I'm hoping's still there. It can't have been that long ago built it.
Take the next left onto Orchardton Road. Continue on Orchardton Road.
Used to be a burger van along here as well, which is quite good. But I remember about working on building sites. It's like, where the good burger vans were. And you would suss them out and see what it was they were good at. Sometimes they would have good sausage, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they would have good burgers, sometimes they wouldn't. So you'd have to work your way through all these things. Ringing a bell. Oh, there's 3 now. Oh my god, it's manky. I'm pretty sure it's that last one there about. Yes. And it's Denise's snack van. Still there, my god, it looks manky, doesn't it? Is it actually still being used? Kinda doesn't look like it, does it? That's what the site hut was, just where that wee cabin is. That looks like that looks very much like a place that's run down and cut.
In 300 yards.
So sorry, I think it was a warehouse for Dixons, I think, or Curry's or something like that, which I suppose don't exist anymore. So maybe that's why.
Take the next left to stay on Orchardton Road, then turn left onto Westfield Road.
A wee bit of a drag to the left. Look at the flat tire. Now this, I don't think that was any quicker than going the way I've gone. Oh my god! All right, okay, I'm going right here.
Take the next right onto Westfield Drive.
Cumbernauld is, as you'll have seen. Oh, it's just here. Mentioned in Gregory's Kennel. It's like, oh no, there's a new town, so you don't have any. It's all roundabouts and shit. So and it's good for walking because there's rat runs absolutely everywhere where you can walk from A to B quite easily, and it's only 100 yards, but by car it's a mile. Lots of bits like that, and lots of streets that you've got 1 to 50 here, and then I'm looking for number 52, and you can't find it anywhere, and it's actually half a mile up the road somewhere else for the other half of that street. Inchwood Road. I probably shouldn't be giving away my information where I'm going, but it's down here.
200 yards, your destination will be on the left.
It's nice being closer. I see this is very much back gardeny looking. I don't know where the fronts of these houses are. 28, 29, that's too high. Is it? Five. 6. Okay. Okay, I know what number I'm looking for now. Crazy.
Your destination is on the left.
12, 14, 16. Damn you. This is where it starts to get confusing. I'm seeing signs that have 28 to 52. We're going to turn here. I'm going to try. Joys of having a panda. 2 turns that no one else would even attempt. Right. That's 12. So, that might be them there, but kind of driving down the back gardens rather than the front gardens, which makes it very difficult. Have these got numbers on them? 25. 27, it's going the other way! Annoying bastards! That guy was also doing a turn there, is one behind me, right? He's got this place, it's Inchwood Road. Now this is the joys of Cumbernauld. I know I'm 20 yards away from this guy's house. I know I am, but I've got to do it. 27, that's 25. Is that 13 I see there? There's a space there. So I think this is it. I've seen it next door. Okay, well, let's do that. It was the right house. Yeah, so I probably shouldn't have bought that. But I'm see what happens. It's like the spec of these guitars was all pretty good, and when it was not quite Harley Benton, but you know, that kind of idea where, oh, we'll put, you know, EMGs, Seymour Duncans in it, locking tuners, make it like a through neck, all that jazz, but not actually spend enough time on just making a really good guitar. The guy said some of the frets need done, which is, would explain. I suppose my first issue, he actually bought it from that auction. You know, the auction I said, but I tried all the guitars and they were all shit. That's where he got this. So it's one of those guitars. So I knew I would end up with one eventually. I'm totally sure that the one I had before, the red one, was not one of those guitars, but this totally is. Bought it on an online auction. I wonder how much I ended up paying for it. Because they were all really. I started watching the auction because I was sitting there going, you know, are some of these going to go for like a $5? You know, because we're obviously buy it for a $5, fuck's sake, you know, just make it for slide. But I watched the first half of it and they were all going for money. Or I don't know if I even got any, but they all started jumping up. You know, it was sort of 15 minutes to go. They suddenly went from a $5 up to 90 and 100 and all that. So basically, there weren't really any super bargains to be had. I was going to go back the way I came. Yeah, so I'm now on a Les Paul. I always said I don't want a Les Paul. Well, it should just be a case of finishing building it, basically. I'd imagine the frets will need done. It's got like a funny neck joint on it. Looks like a... I don't think it's through neck, that'd be silly. But it's got like a hell of a neck joint on it. It's very, very Aria PE looking. And he's right, the fret edges are rough as fuck. If you take the skin off your fingers, that'll just be something I'll have to do. Oh wow, they're really... That's fucking exactly... Oh man, I might have just made a huge mistake. I think these frets are all popping out the neck. They are a bit. Right. Okay, so... You learn these things. That's why in some of these videos it's like... It's a learning process. You might actually learn something yourself, but I mean... I'll just learn it as we go. I mean, I'm not... To be honest, it's got decent looking tuners. 2 P90s, decent looking hardware. It's just, it's annoying. It's one of those ones that because it's the neck, set neck, through neck, whatever it is, can't just swap the necks over and put something else on it. Make it into a proper Les Paul. I do actually have a couple of Les Paul bodies kicking about, Les Paul necks. Yeah, so serious amount of fretwork needed done on it, I would think. I could actually see, looking at it now, because it's been damp, I think the frets have all popped out the thingy, so I mean, I'll be running over that with my fret hammer, dapping hammer, and then filing the bastards to make them good, which is all alright actually. To be honest, I looked at a guitar last, because I thought my live stream was last night, not tonight. Look at the speed that guy's going at. Oh, do I want to go the cross country route? Nah, I don't think that's it, is it? That's not the right road. Private road, no access, no. If I've not already missed the left-hand turn, I might go the left-hand turn way, you know. Is that it right there? Is that the bus stop? It's neither. Okay. Yeah. So Spear, another one of those factories, companies that just existed for a couple of years and then disappeared, like your Badger or something. I would have thought Badger's main problem was their name, I think. Spear's not a bad name, and they do look kind of gothic-y, evil looking, which kind of maybe going a little along the line of, like, you know, the Schecter guitar research, the Diamond series ones. The more modern sectors where they kind of look a bit satanic, all of them. Kind of going along that way. I'm trying to think about what other Spear guitars they have. I had one called a Tomcat or something like that, which had Seymour Duncans in it. I actually got it from my pal David, who lives just up the road. I was fixing, what was the guitar I fixed up for him the other day? Oh, the gold Antonia Les Paul. First time I met him, in fact it wasn't that, it was his wee cousin. One time I was in Whitegates, just like, I think it was actually there was Civet at one point. And the kid came behind me and he goes, "You're Mad Malcolm." I was like, hello. But you've obviously seen me on YouTube, but it was his cousin. So yeah, he had an Ibanez Art Core, sort of 335. I think it was a 335, you know the ones that kind of look matte and burnt. It's one of them. He had that, and he had this Spear Tomcat, which kind of... The guitar it sort of reminded me was a Ravel, was it a Fernandez Ravel? A kind of odd looking, almost BC Ritchie shaped thing, and an amazing thick maple top on it. And the one I had didn't have paws, have paw prints because it's a Tomcat on the fretboard, but some of them did. Seymour Duncan's in it, and he basically, the guy said, "Oh, do you want to swap the Seymour Duncan pickups into my Ibanez 335, and as payment you can have the Ibanez pickups and the Spear guitar." So I did that, and it was fine. I think it was this was kind of before I was really into sorting out frets particularly well. I got it playing, but it wasn't playing fucking amazing. It was, you go, "Oh, Vietnam, can you make good guitars?" And it's like, not yet. It's all to do with, the Spears were very much for looks, I think, which is what sells, but not quite as, I don't know, they still made the mistake of trying to be a little bit extreme, whereas your Harley Benton's know exactly what they're doing. They make a guitar that looks like George Harrison's Rosewood Telecaster. That's why they made it, and they make lots of guitars that look like that. This looks just like a Fender Mustang. Oh, apart from it's got stainless steel frets and a roasted maple neck, and like wonderful, wonderful things. And it's only £200. Like, oh wow! But I mean, for £200 you're looking at, like a Squire. I don't think that's a classic vibe. It's a Squire one, and it doesn't have the roasted maple neck, and it doesn't have the stainless steel frets, and it doesn't have brand pickups and all that. It's like, yes, but it's been built well. It's not a Harley Benton designed to look good on a spec sheet. Whereas these are probably a little bit like that. I do remember seeing a lot of them though. That charity shop, the one in Kirky, the Rookie Rockstars had a few. They were selling them, I think brand new. They were still in box for £200, something like that. I think new, this was maybe I don't know, the RRP was maybe £300 on it, something like that. Or for some of them anyway. Although this one doesn't have branded P90 pickups. But in saying that, the ones I have seen, like that Bad Monkey one, came with a Seymour Duncan, I think it was a JB, was in it, and the black one, the red one I had EMG HZs in it, and that Tomcat one had Seymour Duncans in it as well. So if they were putting name brand pickups in all the guitars, they might be, I don't know who makes P90s, I doubt there's Seymour Duncan P90s, but something like that. They might be slightly interesting, or EMG or another mix of it. It's got a hideous top on it. It really is a case of, I wonder if anyone else has tried sanding the thing. It's that point that I actually sort of quite like it. Or I'm kind of tempted to turn it into a Bucky Les Paul, to be honest. I do like a P90 guitar. See, I'm sitting there thinking, if I can make it a Bucky Les Paul with P90s, then people are going to be, oh, a Bucky Caster, oh, I'd like a Bucky Caster. I don't really, I've got a Strat, but not an awful lot of people have a Les Paul with P90s in it. So it might be much easier to sell once it's bound it. I don't know whether I try and sand it back or. Basically, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it home and I'm going to have a look at these frets. So the only thing is I think the frets are a wee bit rough. Man. Totally nicking artery and day bothering these ones. This is going to need a proper get the big bastard file out. The thing about this one is though, because as you can see it's relict, down here and stuff like that. I don't really need to be super duper clean with the filing. It's like, oh no, I've scratched it. You get to the point of going, oh, is this a real scratch, or is this a scratch that, is this a proper, this a relic scratch? What other Spears were there? There was one which looked, it looked good on paper. There was a neck through one, which was kind of looked a bit like an Ibanez RG, but from neck through you could see all the way through it. Is it called a gladius or a gladiator? And they're all right, but we're going to use the word insipid. They're not particularly exciting. You know, it looked good, but when you're actually playing it, it was just like it didn't have any. It basically had not been finished. I think is, you know, it's an 80% built guitar. It still needs another few processes where they go over the frets. You know, they do all this stuff. Am I going to go to this wee shop? I might as well. Not been in this place for a while. I'm just going to park here even though it's not a parking space. So this is the Cost Cutter Super Price Store or something it's called, in Hill Honk, and I'm not going to bother leaving my camera on display because it's curky. So I might steal it. That was a bit of a wipeout. I think that this cost of living thing is really fucking things up a bit for folk like me who like going to home bargains and all that stuff and buying the cheap shit. Because there isn't any cheap shit left. It used to be 59p for pot noodles. Now 99p. It's like, oh. So I should probably try not. Well, saying that, my last live stream last Sunday got a bit political at one point, and I had Hunes on saying, oh, Scotland doesn't have any oil. You're just like, my God, how thick can you be? Up here. You've only got 20 people watching. Now it's 19. Oh, you're up here. Oh. Apparently I did. I don't remember. I'm drunk, so I don't remember. But of course I remember. But not the specific details. Scott said I handled it very well. I didn't think I did. But it was like, I would just have been, fuck off. Where reading out headlines from the Daily Mail and the Sun, stuff like that. Right. The whole point of it that I ended up arguing with that guy was like, basically, yeah, if you look up one side, you get all the reasons why Scotland's better and independent. If you look up the other side, you get slogans. Give me some slogans, that's what we want. No, don't want any information, because there isn't any that backs it up. Just put slogans in. Oh, better together. Oh, taking back control. Oh, all that shit. Yeah. So I'll try not to get political tonight. Well, I might as well. I'll see how. I wonder if I'm going to be able to get that spear to play, because the frets on it are shit. That was why I didn't buy any of the other ones. Because I said the necks were like bananas. Maybe not the neck like a banana, but I think because it's been damp, the rosewood fingerboard's like expanded, contracted something, and all the frets have popped out. Either that, or some of them were maybe just shit from the factory. So I mean, that's why this was on that pallet. Maybe I'm wrong about the. Because the thing is, some of them were in boxes when I went to look at them. A lot of them were in boxes, so they were probably alright. But some of them had obviously been left open to the elements. You know, you can see by looking at the bridge and stuff that it was like not just dirty or rusty, but actually, you know, some of the saddles on one of the ones I looked at had actually dissolved to nothing. So it's like there literally were only 4 saddles on the bridge, because the other ones had just rusted and turned to powder. Am I going to go to the shop? Should I go there? I'm going to go to the shop. I've still got half that munchy box to eat. I wonder if I could use this arsehole on a fucking bike on this road. There's no excuse. This road's really bad. Now, this is not a road you want to be biking on. And as I said when I was walking along the old railway line, which is a straight line, it's lovely. You're going along the side of the burn, the river, and you're not getting in the way of anyone, and it's a lovely, pleasant cycle, probably. And he's going, no, I'm going to drive on the lumpy roads, and I'm going to make it so that I've got the right of way. It's like, oh no, I'm perfectly allowed to do this. Yes, legally, yep, you're totally legally allowed to drive on the road on a bike. Would I? Fuck. Not if there's any other option. I know what drivers are like. I've avoided so many crashes in my life, just with people who just don't really understand how to handle a car. And it's like being on a bike, fuck that. Especially on a dodgy, windy road like this. You see it all the time, and I don't want to be sexist about it. of moves on, get past. I was like, there's fucking plenty of room. And he was like, oh, fuck, there's not enough room. I was like, I can see there's plenty of room, and honestly, he had a metre on either side of his car to get past, and he couldn't see it. If you can't guess, if you're not aware within a metre where the edge of your car is, you shouldn't be driving. That's what, well, I suppose it depends on which car it is you've got. But just, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit spoilt with this car because it just does a 3-point turn so easily, and it's like, you can see every corner and all that. It's like a greenhouse. It's like somewhere between Postman Pat's van and a greenhouse. It's great fun. So, Spear. I wonder if I'll chop this up. I'll probably actually be talking for long enough for this just to make it a fucking video. People like watching videos when I'm out in the car and stuff. Panda safari? This is one of those really ones, just like quite quickly it is to be able to get to places. The guy didn't want to take 40 quid for it. He's like up here looking at me like, what the fuck? I offered to buy the two guitars for 80 off him. So if I was going to buy one, I was going to give him 40, obviously. I may have given him the wrong impression. I think I told him about that auction that I was at and all this stuff. He was like, oh, did you? Damn, somebody knows what they're talking about. But I don't think £40 was a total bargain. Probably set up and working. Well, if I fix those frets, I'm just looking at them. Are they? They're awful. They really are really bad. They don't. They stick out from the edge so badly. It's unbelievable. That's why this guitar's been was on that return pallet. That's an interesting one. I wonder what it's made of. Is it this top? I mean, what the fuck were they thinking? Look at that. Big lip on it. I'm assuming this is a... Remember the Les Paul BFG, which looked a bit like that? I'm assuming that probably is a flame maple cap, top or something. And, using this back. So, total sellout in that wee shot. All I got was one can of Rockstar, 2 Go noodles, and a tin of Branston beans. Normally buy quite a lot. Well, that was a little bit more successful. I got a Rustler's barbecue rib for 47 pence, and chicken pakora, which I always buy. Now, you must never sell it. 78 pence for, because it's out of date today. So who's having 3 packets of chicken pakora for dinner? That's me. Sorry, let's get 2 thumbs and having three chicken pakoras for dinner. It's a joke that doesn't get made enough. I've not managed to use that in ages. Let's get 2 thumbs and doesn't give a fuck. Some people are so slow. But just the idea of like, oh look, there's somebody waiting. I'll just crawl. Oh, just crawl. There's maybe a spatial awareness thing. Or a thinking thing. I don't know. Thought out before. The reason I pure hate going to Lidl during the day or any supermarket is people who are just not thinking. Oh, they're thinking of what they're doing. It's just, oh, what is it I was meant to get? Well, where will I stand? I'll stand at this bit where it's really thin between 2, it's a bit like displays. The maximum traffic area in the shop. I'll stop and think about it there. I won't stop at one of the wide bits. No, I'll stop and think about it at the thinnest bit, the bottleneck of the shop. That's the best place to just stand. And also the trolley thing as well. I keep getting that in Lidl. So put the trolley, okay. I'll just put my trolley right up against the front so nobody can get at any of the stuff that's behind it. That takes up 2 metres of shelf space. And then I will hover in the 2 metres behind it. That means I can take up 4 metres of this shelf so nobody can get anything. And I'll just stand and I'll just hover and ponder and turned into a bit of a rant. Maybe the weather's creating this rant for me a little bit. It is pretty minging. Anyway, I don't want to show you where I live. Rock on. Hey YouTube! So I'm just back up the road with the Spear. The fret edges are just awful. If I had that thing, is it Phil McKnight has got like stockings? Don't ask why. And if you run his hand down, you can see how much they get scratched. These, I think, would just rip through a piece of paper. And I have a piece of paper sitting there. It's like they're really... Yeah, so... random piece of paper. Yeah, it's smooth. I'll just run it down the fret edges just to see how good they are. Yeah, right through onto my finger. So I mean, you're talking horrible bull, which kind of it's why this was in that that pile, big chunks. So I'm going to fix this, but I'm just going to make sure it's working. So just to look at it, this is the finish I was talking about, and it's like yeah, I don't know what you get relic and you get relic. It's like, it's even, if you look there, look at the way that kind of lips up like about half an inch. One thing I do notice as well is, like, see, this is recessed and these knobs are recessed, so I think this could have been like almost built as a flat top, like a Les Paul Junior type thing, and then they've gone, oh, hold on, there's not enough room to fit normal pots in, so they've kind of routed the cap before they put it on. Sort of funny looking. There's that neck joint I was talking about. I mean, that's pretty smooth, and there's it's relict, as they say. Yeah, see the bridge is like kind of looks like it's fucking ancient. It's meant to look like that, I think, because the tuners are the same. Decent looking tuners though. Oh, that's serial number. MV09 2009. Okay, so that's about, I think that's round about that time was when Spears were about. Gone now, big volute in the back of the neck. You know, there's definite things to be said for this guitar. I wish you spit. Look at that bit there. So you can actually see. There, look at that. Look at that ramp. Yeah, look how much that sticks up. It's pure ridiculous. It's obviously part of the design. I mean, obviously I'm looking at it going like that. Can I sand that bastard? I think I might be taking this to bits, sanding it, turn it into a bucky caster. The P90's in it, which I've not even had a look in yet. I did actually turn it on to make sure it worked before I... There we go. So what I'm going to do is it's an interesting technique of playing where I'm going... That knob is either not right or it's been forced onto the wrong sized. Yeah, that's not the correct tip. Doesn't sit on right. So I'm going to do a sort of scooping motion where I'm going to try and play it without touching, without slashing my fingers to bits on the really bad frets. So I'm going to kind of be playing in the middle of the guitar. You can take my thumb off. Thing is, it actually... Right, apart from the really, really sharp fret ends, the guy, to be fair to him, did mention... The only thing really wrong with it is slightly sharp fret ends, and it's not slightly, fucking massively. But, see, because there's binding, I reckon I'm just going to be able to run a big file down that like that. And just... Okay, so I take off a bit of, the binding as well, but I mean, it really is... It's not the worst I've ever seen. The worst I've ever seen is a neck that's sitting through in the garage that I meant to send to Jez about 6 months ago. I can't remember what, a bass neck, and it's like the frets were literally popping out. This one, it's completely unacceptable. There's no way you could buy a new guitar with frets like this. Even Harley Benton do better than that. Yeah. So, I mean, interesting having a wee Les Paul. I think just a little bit of a paint job and end up with quite a nice quite a nice wee guitar. But again, it's one of those ones where, oh, you're picking up a guitar for 50 quid. It's like, yeah, you can get a guitar for 50 quid. It's like, you kind of can't. You can if you're really lucky. It is possible. I have had a guitar for sub 50 quid that was good, that worked all the way through, that didn't really need anything done to it. I mean, this one, the action's not that bad. The truss rod is slightly over tight. I hope the truss rod adjusts. I could do with taking a bit off that. But the action, I mean, we're talking, I don't know, like at 1.25 millimeters. This is coming in at 2. So I need to take off, you know, I need to basically half the action on it. I'm going to obviously take it to bits. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to strip it down this afternoon and just file these bastard frets down. It's unless you like an element of fear in your playing. It's like, you know, the fear of, I'm just going to go round a solo, but I might be quite significantly injured. Also, I'm kind of interested to see what if these pickups are branded ones as well. They might just be, you know, your Chinese generic stuff. But it sounds pretty rocking. It's actually got a really nice feeling neck on the back. I think maybe, same when we were sanding it down to make it look worn, I think maybe they've inadvertently sanded it so it feels quite smooth at the same time. It's just those fret ends are unbearable. Should really have offered less money for it. But I'll get a couple of videos out. I'll make it into a bucky cast. I'm sure I'll not lose money. You know, you're not really losing money spending 40 quid on a guitar, I don't think. It's just the whole thing. I hope that truss rod works. It's not. It's just. It's not quite straight. It's just got a bit of relief in it. As long as worst case scenario, the truss rod doesn't move, but the way it's set, you get away with it. It's just a little bit spanky. Once I've lowered the action down, obviously it's fine just now because the action's been fidgeted with. I don't think I'm going to be able to use it for tonight's live stream, but it depends how easy it is to file down. The fact that it's already a relic is kind of giving me that huge burst of confidence going, well, it doesn't really matter if I scratch it a bit or anything like that, because look at it, I mean, this top is sensual. You can feel it, it's pure 3D. It's ugly as fuck, really, isn't it? There was a white one, which I don't think looked quite as bad. A cream one, well, no, the cream one looked just as bad. It's just like, you know, the idea of, it doesn't look worn. It looks like it's been underwater, which, I don't know, is that really a desirable thing? I don't know, you get, was it the Axel Badwaters that kind of looked like they were driftwood? I'm not sure that this, you know, blistering paint, like an old door or something, is really what you want. That's a hell of a scoop there. No, it's not just a, you know, it's not just a set neck. It's a. I wonder if I mean, how would I know if it was a through neck? I would doubt very much. I can see there that it's not. So I mean, I wonder what this is made of. Because a lot of the other ones were made of quite fancy woods. I mean, I wonder if this one's the same. I'm trying to look around the edges to see if there's like a veneer or something on the back. But this must be a one-piece top, I suppose. And I suppose it's probably maple, so it's probably quite Les Paul. Gold. Oh, paint it gold. Just the top. That's how I'm going to do it. Yes, okay. Yes, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm sitting there going, how am I going to... Oh, it doesn't have binding on it. That's going to make it a bit difficult. Yeah, well, I'm not really in any rush. If anyone's after a specific... actually, I quite like the headstock as well, to be honest. It's a little bit silly the old thing about having these two tuners here when they should really be in here. I might put like a string butler type thing on it, because those, you know, the angle going in at the nuts a bit shit. It's been done so that the headstock looks cool as fuck. It does. It's kind of that's kind of like two wee devil horns or something. I do quite like the look of the headstock. The practicality of it doesn't appeal to me though. I like a straight string pull over the nut if at all possible. I mean, I wonder. I'm not going to reshape it or shit like that though. A couple of string butlers just here somewhere to make it so that it doesn't, you know. Right, I mean, it appears to be alright. It's quite light, which is nice for a Les Paul. Maybe this will be my Les Paul, saying I don't have a Les Paul. You're not going to argue, well, it's got P90s in it. I know you do get Les Pauls with P90s in them, but I've actually got a set of mini humbuckers. I want to put mini humbuckers in it. No, I quite like the idea of P90s. But I mean, I think I'm going to have to get the angle grinder, the belt sander out on the top of this to make it a little bit less shit looking. And then maybe just another undercoat and a gold top. He'd end up with quite a nice guitar. I think it's just, I don't know. I was kept talking about this in the car, but I kept forgetting. I didn't get to there was a spear. It was a Telecaster type thing, a little bit pointier than a Telecaster, and it had like a metal sheet that looked like fish scales on the top of it. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. And I think it was the same on the headstock. It was like a sort of, but it wasn't metal. It felt like you know, like the baking trays you get in below a steak pie. Felt like that a little bit. It was kind of like not metal. It was metal, not metal. So it's like you kind of got that when you pushed it, you could kind of almost feel it moving again. I thought it was an interesting looking guitar, but those are the ones I tried out. I'm actually now beginning to wonder if those ones I saw in that that auction, a lot of them, some of them had banana necks, but they all had bad frets. I wonder if these came out the factory like that. I don't think this is a, you know, I was saying earlier on, it might be that one there looks like it's popped out a little bit. I think they've just it's the design, in the process they've put the wrong size of frets in it, or they've made the neck slightly too small for the frets, or something like that. And basically what they've done is the frets have all been hanging off, and they've just gone along going snip, 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 and that's it. Because that's it's totally unacceptable. I'm just sitting here. I'm just going to spend this afternoon with this file and just literally just fucking scoring the bastard down. That's made some difference. Alright, it's not done, obviously, but now look, oh, and it's not actually making me bleed. So yeah, so bit of filing, bit of a clean, bit of a fret polish, put it back together again, make it work, play it for a bit, and then decide whether I'm going to belt sand the top to try and make it smooth, and then the Bucky idea would be a good one. I like the Bucky idea, but how do you to get the Bucky? You really need to get the three colours. So I put a scratch plate on it, shouldn't I? I could put like a yellow. I'm thinking paint the pickups yellow or red, and then do the top green. You're kind of there, but or maybe red knobs. I'm not red knobs and broomsticks. Yep. I think I'll just leave the relic back of the. Stop doing that. It's really annoying. It feels really good right up till you get to the bit where it totally garrots your fingers off. But I think big massive bastard, literally bastard file from B&Q. Fucking right. I'm going to put this away before I end up injuring myself. It's like I've not actually cut myself yet, but it's going to happen. Rocking. So there's your Monday video, and we'll see whether I get this out in the live stream tonight. Depends entirely on how quickly and easily I can sort these frets this afternoon. What time is it? 4:30. So yeah, I've got a chance of. You might be seeing this in the live stream, and then I'll start thinking about what I'm actually going to do with it. Rock on!